We're rolling. Welcome back to the Crew Mahoney podcast. It is so good to be back on the microphone, yapping, doing my thing, trying to become a proficient podcaster, which I'm just finding very fun. You know when you're just starting something new and you still feel like you suck at it a little bit, but then you can feel the gears turning and you're getting there. You're moving, you're progressing. That's how I feel about the podcast. I just love this. Love talking to you guys. Love just letting the thoughts roll, trying to match the words to the thoughts. What a fun feeling. Hey, if you notice, I have a cactus now. So, I might have a blank psycho room, but I have a cactus. It's a plant. It's a living thing. So we're good. Got some oxygen flowing. It's a good look. Got the aesthetic rolling. I know you guys are proud of me. So look, what I want to talk about today, the keys to success, right? What a simple, non-general concept here. Now, it's pretty general, but I have some very specific things I want to talk through because I think success has been kind of bastardized, or at least the concept of success has been bastardized in today's world because everyone wants to be Kim Kardashian or some YouTuber that doesn't bring any value to the world, but I think we all know deep down what real success looks like. So a lot of the things I might talk about today are going to be really strong reminders, and hopefully I can bring some new ideas and perspectives to you. So first thing, I want to talk about the idea of internal peace, right? Because if you don't have peace internally, well, the world around you is definitely not going to do you any good because the world outside is always this up and down of emotions and things happening fully outside of your control. All you can really do is control what happens inside. So peace internally, right? Probably the biggest pillar to this internal peace is self-respect, right? Being the person that you say you are. Think about that for a second. If I claim I am a certain kind of person and then all of my behaviors and actions do not align with that, there's going to be no internal peace. I'm not going to have self-respect, right? Anybody that you respect is going to be the kind of person where you go, oh, here's what I would likely expect this person is going to do. This is how I expect they're going to show up. And then that's the truth of what happens. When you say, oh, I'm going to count on this person, and they never show up, you don't respect them. When somebody says they're going to do something and they don't follow through, you say, oh, that's a liar. You don't go, oh, that's my hero. So if you want to build respect internally, you have to say you're going to do things and do them, make and keep promises, claim to be a certain person, be that person, and just uphold the kind of individual you want to be. There's a million different ways you can do that. And you can manufacture sources of self-respect, which I do plenty, right? I run every single day just as an anchor of my self-respect, right? I eat really healthy every day because, of course, there are physical benefits to that. But at the same time, when I treat myself well, I go, oh, me, that person that treats me well, I actually respect him, right? And so it's really hard to often see that relationship so clearly because it's just internal. It's just you. Right? But looking at it in terms of a relationship with another person, it makes it really, really clear. So the key to hating yourself, right, is to consistently let days go by where you're not doing what you should do. How do you know what you should do? It's called honesty. To be honest, of course. Do I really need to sit here and tell you what you should be doing? No, because you know your priorities, you know what you care about, you know what you want your life to look like. Honesty is going to give you the full blueprint. It's when people lie to themselves that they now don't know what they should be doing, right? Everybody knows that they should be healthy. Oh, but now the opinion of somebody else relies on me doing something that goes against being healthy. Now what am I supposed to do, right? If you're really honest and you get to the core of what matters, it's very easy to know what to do. It's not always easy to do those things, right? For me, the running and the morning routine and just treating myself really well, it's not easy to do the things, but it's easy to know that I should. So don't let days and days and days go by where you're just not upholding those responsibilities, because you're not going to have much internal peace with that. What's really interesting about this internal peace concept as well is how you see yourself. So I don't know if you resonate with this, but growing up, I would always go into this headspace where I was thinking, but then I was also observing and thinking about how I'm thinking. So it's kind of a two-tiered thought process, right? So it's a full, not indulgence, but it's a full living in the moment experience, and you're observing yourself doing that. It's really hard to explain. It's kind of abstract, but I always use it as kind of a movie perspective or a third person perspective, where you are not only navigating your life, you are watching yourself navigate life from afar, if that makes sense. So working on the way that you see yourself is a really big deal. Obviously, these ideas of self-respect, not letting days go by, not doing what you should, these play into how you see yourself in a value sense. But I'm talking about literally the way that you are watching your life happen. There are a lot of ways that you can organize this, but I've always, again, used kind of that third person perspective where you can zoom out. Maybe an example of this that might resonate a little bit more, when you're talking to somebody and they are just on a completely different planet than you, and you're more so talking to yourself while you're having a conversation with them, that's kind of a version of this third person thing, because you've almost zoomed out and watched the conversation happen rather than being fully emotionally involved. Kind of hard for me to explain this again, because it's a little bit out there, but this is a big part of that internal piece too, is knowing how you see yourself, I guess, building some awareness in that weird category. I don't know. Now, another part of this is the insight into the why behind everything that you do. So I think a lot of people are passive. I think a lot of people do things mindlessly. And the world is kind of set up for that to be the case, right? We go to the grocery store every day and we just buy things off the shelf because it looks yummy. And you have no idea what's in that product, right? You go online and you just trust other people's perspectives mindlessly. You're not thinking critically about that. You're not breaking it down and really analyzing that in most cases, right? If you're just a product of kind of the normalcy of the world. But the insight into your decision making, the why behind your decision making, is so massive, right? If you wear a certain shirt, and I come up to you and say, why do you wear that shirt? I think you should actually have an answer to that question, right? If someone asks you something about your own life, your own decisions, and it's just kind of I don't know, I think that's actually a problem. Because if you don't know you, right, how are you going to navigate your life? How are you going to connect your behaviors, your actions with your priorities, the things you care about, those things you quote unquote should do? Right? If you don't have the insight into your own why, then you're going to be kind of lost. And unfortunately, I think a lot of people operate in that kind of way. To mindlessly just take someone's opinion as gospel, right? I don't want you to listen to this podcast and just say, oh, yeah, maybe I like this guy from social media, I'll just believe everything that he says. No, you can consider what I say, but you have to do the processing as well, right? So having that insight, this is a massive part of that. Now, another huge key to success, right? The key to success. I mean, it kind of makes me laugh just stating it that way, because I'm really not a fan of the key or the hack or the trick, but kind of a pillar, if you will. It's going to be relationships. Relationships are kind of everything, because unless you're just going to live alone for the rest of your life, you're constantly going to be dealing with relationships with your family, your friends, romantic relationships, people you work with, people you go to school with, whatever it might be. You're always dealing with people. We're not meant to be by ourselves. We are community-based beings, right? So massively important to have an understanding here. Family is interesting, right? Because family is essentially a cesspool of projection, right? So within your family, you have all different kinds of characters. Maybe it's great, maybe it's toxic, maybe it's crazy, maybe it's violent, who knows? Families come in a lot of different shapes and sizes, but when it comes down to it, everybody always is complaining about, oh, my uncle said this, my dad said this, oh, my sister thinks this about me, oh, they don't support the business I'm trying to start, oh, I'm trying to be healthy and nobody likes it, right? It's really, really hard to have confidence within that because your family is so close, you really want to take on what they say. The problem is it's very often projection. And we have the responsibility to ourselves to bring honesty, to bring confidence, to bring truth into analyzing what other people think of us, of course in general, but especially with family because it holds so much weight. I think a really strong example of this is the parent-child dynamic, right? Where the child takes on the advice and the really strong opinions of their parents in most cases. And if a kid grows up and then decides to basically take a different path in life than their parents, right? They're going to receive the harsh feedback. And then in the kid or grown-up kid's perspective, it's, oh, my parents think I suck, I'm a failure, they're always so hard on me, they don't like what I'm doing, they don't support me, all of that kind of stuff, right? And super understandable, right? Because it's a heavy receipt of the opinion of the parents. I mean, it means a lot. It holds a lot of weight. What's so difficult to do is to look at those opinions that you're receiving from your parents and realize that if you chose a different path in life than them, think of the punch in the gut that they're receiving from that, right? They spent maybe 20, 30 years trying to lead their child in the right direction, and now they want to live completely different from them, right? The child in this case never ever sees their perspective of, oh my gosh, what did I do wrong? Did I fail? Why do they not believe in what I was trying to teach them? Do they think that the way I lived my life is a failure, right? So there's two strong sides to it. And again, it takes so much confidence to be able to see the other person's side in that dynamic. This is why family is a really tough one. Now, friendship is a huge part of this. Friendship for a lot of people is some surface level shit, and it's crazy because you know the people that have friends but then they also hate their friends at the same time. Those kind of people don't actually know what it is to have friends, because I'd say one of the biggest defining factors of my friendships is the ability to be as real as possible. I'm talking, you can say anything and they know you, so the words aren't going to have the same product as, if you just posted some shit on Twitter or something, right? I can look my friends in the face and say something horrible, and they know that I'm joking, even if I'm not using a joking voice, right? Because they can see through the words. They can see through the objective use of the words and have a subjective understanding of, oh, this is my friend. I know who this is. I know his intentions. I know he's a good person, right? And when people don't have that kind of relationship with their friends, I just go, man, that is so rough. Because I'll hear people say, oh yeah, I made this joke and my friend didn't like it and they haven't talked to me in weeks or months. I'm going, what do you mean? Did they hear what you said and now they just think you're a bad person because of the words that you said? Right? I just think that there's so much more nuance and understanding, and people that don't like jokes, right? That boggles my mind, because I think that the humor in a friendship, for example, is kind of the strongest representation of understanding and connection, because again, you can see through the freaking vocab and you know what the intention is. It's intention-based communication rather than word-based communication, right? And I'm a huge advocate of listening to someone's intention versus listening just to someone's words, because you can always twist words And if you're not familiar, just go on social media. You'll see that happen about 1,000,000 times. So the last part of this relationship topic, I guess, would be romantic relationships. And ideally, a romantic relationship would be comprised of two real whole individuals with confidence and self-awareness. And then a relationship is fulfilling. But if it's two people that are kind of half-assed in their development, and then they're looking to kind of fill a void using the other person, I mean, it's just recipe for trouble. That is just not going to turn out well, right? So this is the sentiment of work on yourself, right? Try to improve. Try to have a really good understanding of you. Right, the earlier topic of the internal piece, that's a massive part. Having confidence and self-respect, that's really going to be the only way that you can productively exist in a relationship outside of the one with just yourself. Right, so two whole individuals is really what it takes. Moving on from relationships, this next pillar to being what I would see as a successful individual is critical thinking. Critical thinking. I touched on this a little bit, but the basis of this is question every single thing ever. Literally question every single thing ever. I'm looking at a camera right now. How the hell is this thing made? How does someone make a camera lens? I have no freaking clue. How does someone make this desk? How did they make the little mechanism that makes it go up and down? Go into the store. Why is it called Whole Foods? Is it because it's a whole food diet? No, they sell bullshit in there. So, did someone just create the name and they just come up with it and ran with it? I mean, I just remember being really young, and I would be in the back of the car. My mom's driving, and I'm just looking out the window. You look at everything, and I'm seeing signs of places. I'm going, why does the branding look like that? Why did they put that underline, or why are the letters in all caps, or gosh, why does that person dress like that, or what? Just questioning every single thing ever. And then the second part of that is, with the important stuff, actually searching for the answer. And a big part of this is kind of sitting with yourself. When you're critically thinking, questioning your own beliefs, your own actions, you should very much be searching for the answer to those questions, not just kind of randomly questioning things and then going, I don't know, and then moving on, right? Because when you question you and you're questioning that why behind what your life consists of, then you're actually going to find the answers. That's how you improve. That's how you make changes. So questioning every single thing is massive, right? Now, this questioning process, this needs to apply so heavily with information that you are receiving. So everybody just thinks that, if someone has doctor before their name, that they are God, and they just take their opinion as gospel. Every person is just a freaking person. Your surgeon, was in college trying to get the answers to the test from his friend just to pass, right, to get the degree. Just because someone has a title doesn't mean anything. You have to assess people's character. Or you have to assess the information that you receive from the world outside of you. You cannot just go around passively accepting things. It just is not going to work in today's world, because nearly everything you see is some form of manipulation, right? And look, there's plenty of genuine information out there. I'm not trying to say that everyone is against you, but you see the package on a product at the store. Oh, look, it's telling me that it's healthy. Until you actually look into it, it's probably not actually healthy. I just want to so strongly encourage to be critical, right? Thinking critically. That is the whole sentiment of what I'm talking about right now. Be critical to the information that you receive, right? You're not being mean if you question somebody. You're not being hateful if you don't just accept something and go along with it. Question, question, question. This is for a whole other episode for sure, but religion is a massive one for me. Because if I just took what was in my face, I'd probably prescribe to or subscribe rather, to every single religion that I see, right? Because everything is pretty dang compelling until you start asking questions. And I'm not talking some questions, I'm talking all the questioning. The questioning never ends, right? And when you kind of go into things searching and you're curious and you have an open mind, the questioning is not a painful experience. This religion example, I absolutely adore talking about. It's literally my favorite thing to have conversations about because it's really, really fun to explore, right? Exercises the brain, challenges some of your own ideas. Maybe you come up with some new ideas, some new perspectives. It's really fulfilling. So thinking critically is huge, and learning new things, right? So this critical thinking, this honesty, right, is going to teach you so much about the world around you. And you pick up on little details of how people interact and communicate, and then you take that into your own library of knowledge, and then you're just a more, tactical individual. It's really powerful to just observe, to critically think, to take in information, challenge everything. This is huge. And again, that leads to learning new things and trying to take on new skills, adapt, right? That challenges your brain even more. And if you want to, learn a backflip, you're going to have to take in a lot of information. You're going to have to learn things for yourself, see what works best for you. Right? The critical thinking applies to even the simplest little skill building behaviors. So thinking critically, major part of being a successful individual. Now, physical health. This is so easy for me to talk about because it's just, I say obvious, not in kind of a, oh yeah, duh kind of way, but it's just so fundamental, which again is why it's so easy for me to talk about. So physical health, exercising every day. There's just no reason you shouldn't be exercising every day. If you had some massive injury and you can't just go to the gym or can't go on a run, doing something to get your heart rate up. Maybe it's going in a sauna, or even just sitting outside, for God's sake. Something needs to be done that takes your body out of the baseline state, because what happens if you spend too much time in baseline? That baseline starts to drop and drop and drop and drop. And then you're falling into kind of an emotional lack of survival. So exercising every day gets the heart rate up, gets the body into a real physical exertion, physical survival, which allows that baseline of your emotions to be a lot more settling, a lot more productive. What you eat, my God, so important, right? Just as with exercise, you should keep things simple. I am such an advocate of simplicity for diet, nutrition. The overwhelm that comes from needing to have a massive variety of food and eat something different every single day, the benefit of that does not outweigh the burden that you take on by having this responsibility to just, give yourself some brand new menu of food every single day. I just find so much peace in the simplicity of eating relatively the same thing every day. You have no guesswork about your health, right? Because if you eat a certain way for a while, maybe you get some blood work done, or maybe you just assess how you feel, and then you make some small changes based on that. You optimize to the point where you feel really good. You know how many calories it is, what you're consuming every single day. No guesswork. You don't have 100 different ingredients to question, oh, is this thing making my, scalp itch or giving me headaches or whatever it might be, right? Less guesswork, less burden, less mental and emotional overwhelm. Simplicity is the way to go. Fueling your body with the nutrients that it needs. Fundamental. Absolutely fundamental. Super valuable. Sleep. Sleeping like a legend. This is so important. Just get 8 hours of sleep a night. Prioritize it, right? And if you don't prioritize it, you're going to feel like shit. And if you do prioritize it for one day, you might feel okay. And then don't do it again the next day, you're going to feel like shit. My thought on fixing sleep patterns, because it's such a foundational kind of relationship with your body and tiredness and recovery and all that kind of stuff. If you want to fix it, you have to be perfect for a little while. right? I sleep really, really well. If I stay up super late one night, which is extremely rare, by the way, and wake up the next morning, I'll be super tired, but this isn't going to ruin my sleep pattern because the next night I can just get to sleep on time, and then within the next couple days, I'll be back to normal. But if getting terrible sleep is your normal, it's going to take 2, 3, 4 weeks of absolute perfection, as in getting to bed at the same exact time every night, to actually fix it. And maybe that getting to bed looks like sitting there and staring at the ceiling for an hour. So be it, right? You have to push through maybe a handful of days of that sitting there staring for an hour, to where maybe after a few days you kind of go to sleep more quickly. Maybe it's more comfortable. Maybe your mind quiets down a little bit, right? But it has to take that perfection. So sleep like a legend, huge part of the physical and mental health, of course. Now, this last thing I want to talk about is money. Money's the root of all evil, isn't it? Well, it's also the root of buying a dope-ass house in Austin, Texas next year, because I want to do that, right? It's also the root of being able to help a bunch of people. It's also the root of being able to create amazing memories, right? It's not the only root of being able to create these memories, but money is not evil in itself, right? Money is an amplifier. So if you suck ass and then you get a bunch of money, you're probably just going to suck more ass. But if you're awesome and you're amazing and you're charitable, and then you get a bunch of money, it's just going to amplify those characteristics that already exist within you. So money is not the issue. It's the individual that the money gets attached to. Right? This is what creates an issue. So I think money is wildly important. Right? These people that are, bullshit, of course it means something. It's the foundation of how we move throughout our world and our society. And it's how you buy food. It's how you take care of things. It's how you, build your ideas. It's how you take your life to the next level. It's also how you survive, right? I guess you could go out in the woods and kind of do your thing, but if you exist in reasonable society, and if you're listening to this podcast, I doubt you're in the middle of the jungle. If you are, let me know. That'd be cool. But if you're in reasonable society, right, money is an important thing. So don't need to get too floaty and spiritual and, money means nothing, man. Totally means something. But again, depends on who the money is attached to. So being smart about money is massive, right? Not overspending, knowing how much money you make every month, knowing how much you spend every month. Make sure the make one is higher than the spend one. Pretty simple, right? And invest. Buy a freaking rental property. That's probably the best thing I've done in the past 5 years. Just buy a house and rent the sucker out. And it's pretty damn easy. And it's just a smart way to make your money work for you. It's a long-term investment. People who are rich don't just get rich by going on Shark Tank and selling their damn, flip-flops or whatever. It's by making really good decisions over a very long period of time and making money, right? It's not rocket science. So that is the 5 keys, right? Those are the 5 keys that I see are fundamental to being a successful person in today's world. Now, money, of course, was the last one. It's not unimportant, but I think in most people's eyes, that is the first one. Notice that most of what I talked about is based in character, the way you treat yourself, the way you treat other people. These are the things that don't have an account that you can log in and see your score of, I'm 120 points disciplined. There's not that, right? And so this is why people are not attracted to these things, because they're the unquantifiable characteristics, but they matter a lot. They really, really matter a lot. So I hope that this podcast could be a really strong reminder to check your priorities. Right? Really, really think deeply about what matters to you. Act on those things. Become a better individual, right? Don't just go for outcomes. Go for the input, right? Who are you? That holds a lot of weight. So to finish off the podcast in proper style, if you are listening to this show if you're watching me or if you're hearing my voice, no phone dinner. 3 words, no phone dinner. When you eat dinner tonight, you're not using your phone, right? This is going to be the episodely reminder. No phone dinner is huge because it gives you the time to sit there, appreciate a meal, think about nothing but what is in your mind, not in your phone, not in your iPad, not in a podcast, not in the MacBook, just what is in your mind. Spend that time with yourself. This is massive. Please, no phone dinner. Set the reminder, make the promise. Don't try and get out of this one. If you're hearing me, be honest with yourself. You know what to do. No phone dinner. Now, aside from that, if anything that I have spoken about in this episode is something that you are struggling to overcome, you want to see yourself improve even further in, it holds a lot of weight in your life, and you really want to take things to the next step, I want to mention a couple of things that I do offer. First, one-on-one mentorship. I make a living by helping people improve their lives based on a lot of the things that I've talked about today. I am wildly lucky to be able to do what I do. I get to talk to people every day about making their lives better. It's the coolest thing ever. If you would like extra guidance, if you trust my opinions and my perspectives, if you want anything that you see I am proficient in my life, you can apply for one-on-one mentorship in the description or bio or whatever the heck you call it of this episode. The other thing is my private community. So I've started a group of folks that get on a call every single week, and we simply have deep discussions, right? We talk about the really difficult questions of life. The last call that we had, somebody asked, how do you guys deal with the mental battle of recognizing that we're not going to be here one day? That is a really difficult question, and we spoke about it at length, right? So exploring new ideas. This is something that I don't think nearly anybody gets to do on a consistent basis, and so I have found so much value in starting this group. I've seen people improve and progress their lives in ways that I would not have even expected when I first started it. The power of real connection and real conversation is incredible. So the link to apply to that is also in the description of this episode. Lastly, I want to hear what you thought. I want to hear your ideas. I want to hear your questions. So drop all of those in the comments of this episode. I absolutely love to hear from you guys. Other than that, if you're on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. If you're on Spotify, follow or whatever the heck you're supposed to do on there. Give the episode a like. I can't wait to talk to you guys again. Hope you have an incredible day. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.